Friends, welcome to Dbtv. Today we have with us two Salesian priests, Father Sandesh and Father Roshan. They have just been recently ordained as priests. They are here today to tell us about their vocation story, to tell us about their vocation journey. Before we begin, I would like to read a few lines that may illustrate the thoughts of people who have dedicated their life to work in the Lord's vineyard. The first is from the hymn, I offer my life. All that I am, all that I have, I lay them down before you, O Lord. All my regrets, all my acclaims, the joy and the pain, I'm making them yours. Lord, I offer my life to you. Everything I have been through, use it for your glory. Lord, I offer my days to you, lifting my praise to you as a pleasing sacrifice. Lord, I offer my life to you. The second is from the hymn, Thy Word. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. When I feel afraid, I think I've lost my way, still you're there right beside me. And nothing will I fear as long as you are near. Please be near me to the end. I will not forget your love for me, and yet my heart forever is wandering. Jesus, be my guide and hold me to your side. I will love you to the end. Father Sandesh and Father Roshan, let us begin and talk about your early childhood experiences.
To begin with my vocation story, I remember when I was in the third standard, my parish was celebrating Mass, and I looked at him while he was preaching a homily. I said to myself that I would like to be a priest. Then I was very small, because I didn't have a capacity of reasoning what is right and wrong. Maybe a childhood inclination to be a priest. Then later years, when I was in the 7th and 8th standard, I remember Holy Cross Fathers, they used to come to my parish and they invite us for a summer camp. They used to always come as summer camp. So we used to always gear towards that summer camp. Every year, 7th, 8th and 9th standard, in the month of May, for 5 days, we used to be there, my parishioners, with my companions. But I believe they didn't follow us up well, saying that would like to be a priest. They didn't send personal letter. It was in the 9th standard, Don Bosco priest came to my place. I remember my vocation promoter, Father Anand Noronna. He came to my parish and he got hold of few boys saying that, come, you'll be a priest, pointing at us, they're holding our hands, teaching us few tricks, magic tricks, taught us how to play football, many things. There I have seen the difference between a diocesan priest and a religious priest. Whereas I seen in my parish priest, there is a lot of distance where I could, it was very difficult to interact with the diocesan priest. I saw a lot of, when we asked him, give us, since I was in the alto boys, we asked him, give us cricket ball and a bat to play. He said, no, this is not time to play, come and work. There are a lot of hesitant towards those priests. Whereas here, a Salesian priest, ever cheerful, smiling, goes out of his way to make us happy. Then I decided myself that I will be a Salesian priest. And that's how I came to Panjim to retreat back. It was in the 9th standard. He took a group of my friends from my place and also my neighborhood place. He took us, when we came to Panjim, we had a 5 days of summer camp. And it was there, he chose few of us that if you want to continue with us, or rather you would like to be a close collaborator of Don Bosco, you come to Panjim, where you can finish your further studies. And that's how my initial step began there.
Father Roshan, would you like to tell us something about your early childhood experiences?
Yeah, when I was small only that I had a desire to be a priest. So even I have one elder brother, he also had a desire to be a priest. So many of the priests, like from other congregations like Capuchins, Carmelites, they used to come to see him, and they used to send letters also to him.
Where was this?
This is in Kundapur, my place,
okay,
where I was born. So he used to receive many letters, but later he changed his mind, he did not join. but I did not receive any letters. But in my 10th standard, in our diocese, we have a camp called Jivan Jyoti camp. It is for the deanery. So there I had gone for this camp, and I came in contact with Silesians, Don Bosco fathers, especially Father Anand, Father Maxim de Souza. I was really taken up by their way of life, the way they dealt with us. No? They used to play with us, they used to give us wonderful talk, they used to spend time with us during recreation, especially night games, campfire, all that. So I was really taken up, and I said, okay, I want to be a Don Bosco father. So that's how I am here today.
Father Sandesh, when you finished your SSC and you went to the 12th standard, how did you then become more confident that what you have to do?
I had a desire to be a priest, but I didn't know which way to go. I had a neighbor priest who was a diocesan priest, also a secretary of the bishop, and he was keen on taking me to the diocese of Mangalore. He said, after 10th I will take you. Again, like Holy Cross fathers, it was only a word. They thought I will come. Maybe they thought it was their need, but I didn't know which way to go. Everything has changed only because of the Don Bosco fathers who came to my place. And the father said, come to Panjim. But sadly, both of us studied in Kannada medium. So our medium of instruction was in Kannada, everything. And when we came to 11th and 12th, everything was in English. We found it very difficult to grasp few things. Even we from Mangalore, we were 9 of us. And in the first year itself, 7 of them failed and they went back. And we were swimming across, we were put in the pool. And since there was a desire in us to be a priest, we said to myself, we'll give our best. And that's how we continued in the 11th and 12th. Of course, my daddy passed away in the 11th when I was in the 11th standard. So after 12th, I was little hesitant. But I just follow the crowd. Let's see what is restored for me in the future. And I believe it was only in the novitiate, spending time in prayer, asking God, what you have desired for me. If you have really called me, show me the way. And spending time in prayer. And I used to offer many intentions of my people at home and my relatives. And I could feel many of my prayers were answered. And I could receive their call saying that so and so looking out for a job and he got a good job, and so looking out for a good proposal. And they were waiting for many years. And I could feel that I can sense God listening to me, saying that forget about your family and everything. Since I have called you, you move ahead. Those were the indirect signs I was getting, saying to go forward, march forward in my Salesian vocation.
Father Roshan, when you informed your parents at home about your thoughts about joining the priesthood, tell us some feedback and what were the reactions?
Yeah, when I told my parents that I would like to be a priest, they weren't very happy. But when the moment came, like, priest, you have to leave home and now go to seminary, my dad was a bit upset because I'm more closer to my dad. So he was initially he was not very happy, but later over the years he is happy. And today they are very happy that I'm a Salesian priest. And throughout my formation, they have encouraged me a lot, and I know that they used to pray every day, and I have received a lot of support from my parents.
Father Sandesh, when they say about discernment and do I have a vocation, these questions are very critical. How you have tackled these questions?
Normally people think when you talk about vocation, lay people, even my parents for example, they have idea about vocation means God should intervene in your life. Maybe angel of God appearing to you. Similarly, as I said earlier, it was in novitiate. After my 12th, I went to the pre-novitiate, further to novitiate. It was there I asked myself, what am I doing here? That was the stage I was asking myself, because it is easy sometimes to follow the crowd and to stand before them, for example, in front of God, asking God, what is restored for me, rather like, what am I have to do with my life, for example. If you really called me, that was a discernment process in my life. It was in the novitiate, spending 2 times retreat and doing my personal prayer. I was having constant conversation with God, asking Him, show me the way. And I feel that was my discernment process. We are asking God, having tussle with God, I could say.
Father Roshan, give us some insights into your discernment process.
Yeah, this question is always used to haunt me, like, do I really have a vocation or should I go ahead or no? Yeah, as Father said just now, that vocation is not something that angel of God comes to you and tells you that you have a vocation, you have to be a priest. But for me, I believe that God calls us to simple events of life. For me, I feel God called me through a friend, and he introduced me Don Bosco. So he had met the Salesian fathers, and these Salesian fathers were supposed to take a group of youngsters to Goa to show them Salesian works, and I was not at all in that group. But this friend of mine invited me to be part of their group, and today, because of that friend, I am here. That I always believe that God called me to Salesian congregation through a friend. So, and over the years, you discern your vocation. We have spiritual director, we have regular confession, we have recollections, and these things really help us to discern and to know where should I go, and this helps us to discern our vocation.
Father Sandesh, were there moments of doubts, moments of second thoughts, some concerns? And if there were, how did you overcome them?
After years of philosophy, we have something called regency, practical training, and those were the years we normally enjoy. We could say the best years of Salesian formation, where we put in different houses. We term it as a brother, so in charge of the boys, teaching in the school, and who is a bridge between the fathers and the boys. In my first year, I was in Bangalore, a place called Kelbed. Second year in Sulcorna. Third year in the pre-novitiate, where I began my initial journey. In one of those years, I really had a doubt. We can become sometimes a workaholic. That work can be done by even the social worker. Sometimes you demand a lot from the boys, you put your heart and soul, you won't get the results. At the same time, there is a pull between superior and between you at the same time. Though we have taken this vow of obedience, sometimes there is a tussle between, and I could term as a dry period for few months. And that was a time I told myself, it's a high time I must pack my bag and go. And looking back, that experience, I believe that experience has enriched me by not making that hasty decision. And I was asking myself, why did I feel that way? Maybe because I was not in touch with God. Because for us, what keeps us going is, apart from mass and meditation, something called personal prayer. Every evening we have to spend at 25, for which you are responsible. Now, even I am a priest, nobody will question me about if you go for mass, do you celebrate mass, do you go for personal prayer. And this is taught to us in the early years of formation. And those were the days I was not in touch with God. And with the help of also my companion, so also spoke to my superiors, I was able to overcome that doubts. And had it been not for that experience, I feel I wouldn't have been here speaking to you, maybe.
Yes. Father Roshan, did you have such similar experiences?
Yeah, I have questioned many times about regarding my vocation. Do I have a vocation, or should I go ahead or no? To tell you, like, after my 11th and 12th, I did my 11th and 12th year in Don Bosco's Panjim. After 12th, I really made up my mind that I should not go ahead. God is not calling me. So I did not write any letters. Before joining a seminary, I was supposed to write a letter and give it to Father Rector. But on my part, I have not done that. I did not write letters. So I had made up my mind that I will go home. But when I went home, I would say that was the most disturbing period of my life. That I used to feel that I have taken a wrong decision for my life. And I used to spend time in prayer. And with God's grace, miraculously, the superior came to one of the Salesian house which is closer to my place. And from there, without writing any letter, nothing, the superior told me that you can go ahead and join the seminary. After that also, after joining also, I have questioned quite many times about my vocation, especially during the regency. Like, it is sometimes, I would say it is one of the tough time, during a formation, that is a tough time, I would say. During those times I have questioned my vocation. But what that Father said, no, spending time in prayer, talking to spiritual director, they help us and they guide us. So like this. So I have sought some help and they have helped me to discern my vocation.
Father Sandesh, by the time we start this journey at the age of maybe 15 or 16, and finally you're ordained as a priest at the age of 29 or 30. There is a long period, and it seems like a mountain to climb. What would you advise others who are facing these tough questions, and how did you feel you could tackle this many years till you became a priest?
When I joined in Panjim, I didn't look forward to how many years more, because normally people say that diocesan, they have less years of formation. They will be a priest within 8 or 9 years. Whereas for us, excluding 11th and 12th, it takes 11 years. So including 11th and 12th, it is 13 years. I didn't look forward to how many years more for me. Sometimes there are anxieties like when I'll become priest. But my last years of formation, when I was in Pune for 3rd years, I was not looking forward for, come on, how many years more, maybe 1 year more. Salesian formation is such, sometimes you feel, I wish I would have more years of formation, maybe 2 more years. So when I was in my 3rd years of theology, I was thinking, wish I would have maybe 2 more years of studies. When you look back, it just flies away. So when I look at him, sometimes we go around the province, addressing youngsters, celebrating mass. When I look at him, I still believe that it looks as though we were in Bosco Panjim together when we joined. So you don't realize how these 12 years have just passed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us something similar?
Yeah, initially this priesthood takes 13, 14 years, depends on the congregation. So initially even I used to think, oh, so many years I have to go through to reach that priesthood. See, novitiate, philosophy, but I used to think. But at one moment I reached, this thought came to me that priesthood is the one point, and from that point I have to still continue. So I used to never worry about how many years to become a priest, no, those things, no. For God has called me to be with Him, and I have to follow Him. Maybe priesthood is the point where I reach that point, and from that point I continue my journey. So these things will never used to disturb me, like years of formation and those things.
Brother Sandesh, can you tell us some interesting experiences from your novitiate, philosophate or theology days? Any incidents?
Incident, as I mentioned earlier, maybe because of the signs, no? I was asking God, He really called me how to go forward. I believe God has answered my prayers, and from then on, I was rooted in prayer, because maybe I learned how to pray, especially how to spend time in meditation and the personal prayer. Normally in meditation, there is a tendency we doze off. So I have inculcated the art of how to do meditation, maybe my own way of maybe sitting in the chapel, invoking the Holy Spirit, then opening the Bible, praying, then reflecting upon it. Even the personal prayer, for that matter, I told myself, I will not close my eyes. I will look at the I will gaze at the Blessed Sacrament. I will speak to Jesus. Few things here and there. When I look back, those are the years I formed maybe my own way of praying. And of course, it was also in the pre-novitiate. I have grown in my human formation, how to relate with my friends, especially. By nature, I am an extrovert. So for me, it is very easy to make friends. And the Salesian formation has given me a boost, how to speak sometimes, how to get along with the children. And I'm grateful for that years of formation, which has helped me to come out of myself.
Brother Roshan, any interesting experiences from your formation years?
Yeah, there are beautiful experiences, both good and positive and negative, which has helped me to grow. Like especially in my formation years, I've been taken up by the good example that my superiors have shown. For example, I have my novice master, Father Francis Karja, who passed away 2-3 years ago. He's a very simple man who really walked the talk. Whatever he taught us, he lived it. So I am taken up by my novice master. Wonderful experience that I had with him. And especially now, last 4 years of formation, I did my theology in Bangalore, Jyoti College. And I was really taken up by most of the Silesians there, especially the elderly Silesians like Father Dominic Velayat, Father T.J. Joseph. They are the stalwarts of Silesian. But their humility, they are great people, intellectual, genius, but still the humility. When I remember that I was sick in my theology days, I had a fever, and Father Dominic, like he's a great theologian. He used to come to my room every day asking about me, how are you? And I felt that time that really we have good Salesians who really take care of you, who are interested in you.
Father Sandesh, tell us about your final pre-ordination days, those few days before ordination. How did you prepare yourself?
After my exams, normally for us I did my theology in Pune. I finished my exam in the month of September. Bit excited, maybe because we are having ordination in his place, close to my parish. Preparation, I have to have Thanksgiving Mass. I was more of, and many Silesians gave, don't worry, everything will happen. Little more excited in the sense. And before I could apply, I was thinking, wish I would have a little more, many years. Because what happens sometimes for us Silesians, when you're into this ministry, you are more engrossed in the ministry. Sometimes you give up this aspect of concentrating, maybe preparing yourself very, very well. And of course we had a retreat, but sometimes those last few days I was caught up with some other activities. For example, with my youth ministry, my Sunday apostolate and other things. Then I was sent to Don Bosco Shiva to prepare myself. So I was there teaching in the school. And I was a bit scared. It is like, what I normally remember is normally during the nuptial ceremony, they say, normally husband and wife say to each other, so I will be with you forever in your joys and sorrows. So that commitment you're going to make, you're a bit afraid, and that commitment is going to last forever. So-called, you say you're going to marry Jesus, for that matter, if you say no. You're a bit afraid and excited. Hope you're making right choice. Prepare yourself well. Mixed emotions and feelings were there.
Okay. And Father Roshan?
Yeah, as I was approaching my day of ordination, especially last 2-3 years, yeah, as Father said, even I was really disturbed. Like sometimes this thought comes to you, like priesthood is something that is a greatest gift that God can give you, and sometimes you feel that you are unworthy for it. And this thought I used to get disturbed with these thoughts and all. And at the same time, there are external things also you have to get ready, like mass and other things, food, like a lot of things you have to get ready with. And these things also used to disturb me, and I used to say, still more days would have been better. But as I approached my day of ordination, I saw that family coming together, they're sharing the responsibility, and that helped me to spend more time for myself, time in prayer, time in reflection. So I saw people coming together, ready to help, what they can do, they used to ask me. So like that, these things have really lowered my tension and helped me to concentrate on what I'm going to do.
Father Sandesh, tell us about your immediate thoughts after your ordination. How did you feel on that day or the next day?
Especially on the day of ordination, many of my relatives said that it was indeed a spiritual event, because during the ceremony there is a time where all the priests, they will lay their hands on you, and you really feel that receiving the Holy Spirit, may you have received on the day of your baptism, confirmation. But I believe that is a moment you could see receiving some power, and you really feel, and that was really, I can feel that you're receiving some power when all the priests laying their hands over you, especially the bishop. And of course, Mene told me, you're going to be a priest, first learn to be a human. And though I have chosen my theme motto as called to imitate God's mercy, and I told myself, I'll try to be human first, especially when coming to the relating people. And that is, though my motto is that, but firstly I want to be a human, because though we are human with the ups and downs maybe, but when especially relating to people, I'm trying to be more human.
And Father Roshan?
Yeah, ordination ceremony is itself a very spiritual moment. Like it's so much of prayerful experience that you can really feel the vibe. So on the day of ordination also, I felt that love of God, like something that is special. That day is special for me, and I'm still go back to that day to revive these days. Like I go back to that day and energize myself, and it gives you a boost. Like you are ordained, that is the greatest gift. That 27th of December is the greatest day of your life, and going back to that day is also helps me to energize myself and to remind for what I am and what I am, like for what God has called you. So it helps me a lot.
Father Sandesh, tell us about your current assignment that has been given to you, your very first assignment.
As I mentioned earlier, I finished my exam in the month of September. So I was posted in Bosco, which is in Udupi diocese, Karnataka. So I was told to help out in the school. I was teaching the 7th and 8th standard, and also helping out in the house where we have hostel. There are 16 inmates, so helping them in the house activities. So after my ordination, Provincial also mentioned me saying that be there till month of May.
And Father Roshan?
Yeah, I came only in the month of December, so few days were left for my ordination. So Superior told me, you be at home and get ready for your ordination. So after my ordination, Provincial called me up and I will be in my provincial house, Parental, Goa. So he will let me know what I am supposed to do there.
Father Sandesh, what is your future outlook? How do you see, and what are your ambitions, and what do you want to achieve?
For us Silesians, normally there are no reservations. Okay, I don't know for the congregation, because we take our poverty, obedience, and chastity, especially obedience. So normally province feels a need. Province feels because if you want to do some other studies for the betterment of the province, or maybe other B.Ed, whatever. So I'm open. So whatever I would say, province, your wish is my command. If province feels that they should send for some studies, maybe whichever house we put, so we accept under the power of obedience, and I work there. So I have to do these studies. No reservation for me.
Father Roshan, any particular targets?
Yeah, for me no targets. Our charism is to work for poor and abandoned youngsters. And for me, I always tell myself as I have to be ready to go anywhere and anywhere. Because I believe if a Salesian house is existing somewhere, it is there for a reason. Don Bosco is there for a reason. And as a son of Don Bosco, I should be ready to go and work there, carry out his mission.
Well, this was about your vocation. Now, about vocations in general. They say there is a scarcity of vocations, both in the diocesan and in the religious life. Tell us, what are your thoughts about this, and what advice you would give, or some explanations to people who want to seek a vocation, and how you can encourage them?
I would say there are vocations, and you know how to trap them. I would say something like befriending with them. Especially when you befriend a boy, you also should befriend with their parents. And I would say, if it is not for Don Bosco, if I would have not come in contact with Don Bosco, I would have been a diocesan priest or maybe a Holy Cross priest. I would say we need to follow them up. Now, for example, even for our congregation, if I want we feel that particular boy has an inclination to be a priest, the constant following them up, giving a guidance, speaking to their parents is very, very important. Because now if I ask a 7th standard boy, he will say, I would like to be a priest. He may change his mind in the 9th standard. But this 8th and 9th standard follow-up is very important. I would say when you follow up a particular boy and meeting their parents, you will get. And maybe it is not our work, it is God's work. And we are only an instrument where He can help the boys. So any congregation for that matter, we will get many vocations. But if you follow up the boy and speak to their parents, you will surely get vocation.
Do you feel that because of the modern media and social media and all that, it has become a distraction and becomes difficult? And how do you feel they should tackle the prospective candidates?
It also depends on the upbringing of the parents, for that matter. Okay, nowadays the trend is what they demand, and the demand is fulfilled. Normally, in the 10th standard, one of those days, they used to ask cycle, give me a cycle. Now the demand is give me a bike, give me a latest mobile. So, as I mentioned, it depends on the parents how they fulfill their needs. Of course, there is I would say, of course, it has affected, but ultimately I would refer back to parents. They are the first teachers. They are the first friends of their children. So, if they know how to bring them up, I would say that. And modern media can be a blessing, at the same time can be a curse. Ultimately, how we make a choice between that.
Yeah, Father Roshan, what are your thoughts about vocations?
Yeah, I also agree with Father Sandesh what he said. Now, there are vocations are there, But ultimately, sometimes we fail to approach youngsters and we fail to ask them, do you really want to be a priest? Sometimes they are scared, they don't know where to go, whom to approach, how to approach. At the same time, you said the media, modern trends have affected. And for us also, it is time to reflect, maybe we need to be more flexible in our formation. Like now, take for example, every child has a mobile, and in seminary formation, you stress on having no mobile and those things and things. And obviously, the youngster will say, what type of life is that? I feel that we need to be more flexible and we need to modify, we need to be flexible in our formation, seminary formation.
Friends, that was Father Sandesh and Father Roshan with us, and they have given us their thoughts. And let us put this interview out, and maybe we can get more vocations from the people who listen to this interview. Thank you, Father Roshan and Father Sandesh.
Thank you.